Every day, we rise, challenging ourselves to work for what we believe in. At U.S. Border Patrol, protecting our borders is more than a job. It's a calling. Agents answer the call, working together to keep our country and communities safe. If you are ready for a new mission, join U.S. Border Patrol and go beyond. Learn more at cbp.gov/careers.
Decorating Pages is a podcast dedicated to taking you behind the scenes of the designs of your favorite TV shows and films. Each episode, I'll be sharing design stories from some of Hollywood's most famous sets. Interviews from set decorators, production designers, directors, and actors about creating the look of TV and film, about their design inspirations, and stories that take sets from page to screen. Hello, and welcome to Decorating Pages. I'm your host, Kim Wanup. Well, I've been tested, and I'm negatory. What? I'm going back to work. And I'm scared. And I'm happy. And I feel like I'm way behind. And tick-tock, I gotta get it done. And it all starts back up again. So, it's exciting. I feel blessed to have a job to go back to. A little scared with everything that we have to deal with, but I guess we'll just all figure it out. Very weird to go back to the lot to get tested and see everyone working in masks and standing in like little groups because everybody has to be in certain zones. But I'm looking forward to starting again. I really don't remember where I left off, so that's crazy. How this whole pandemic has screwed with the perception of time for me. I don't know if it's just me. I don't know if it's you. But time is just, I don't know. It's the Jeremy Bearimy clock or something. It's gone so fast, but yet so slow. So what is Wanup watching? Well, I was off last week. We took a little desert trip. So I haven't watched, but I know we finished The Crown, and I don't know what I've been watching. I've been doing actually a lot of research for these upcoming episodes with some of the Emmy nominees, which is going to be exciting. Like today, Monica Sotto, and next week I have Matthew Flood Ferguson from Hollywood. So I've been doing a lot of research that way and just watching and appreciating everybody's work. On this episode, I speak with production designer Monica Sotto. Monica is celebrating her nomination for Outstanding Production Design of Variety, Nonfiction, Reality, or Reality Competition Programming for Drunk History. She was also nominated in 2017 when she was the art director for Drunk History. This past January, the team won an Art Directors Guild Award for Drunk History. I know this chick from way back. I met her on Bones when she was the art department coordinator. And it's just so funny how you work with someone and then it's like, oh my God, I knew you when. I knew you when you were a coordinator and now you're all grown up. It's crazy. It was great to catch up with her for this. And because I really haven't talked to her or really seen her since I've seen her a couple times since I worked with her. She is a USC film grad and started out as being an agent's assistant and then moved into the art department. So that's an interesting little tale she tells. She's worked on some great shows like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Rizzoli Isles, American Horror Story, and more. Chappaquiddick. We're going to talk all about it. So I hope you enjoy.
Yeah, we were like, our last production meeting for that block was Friday, the 14th of March. which is when I think the state of emergency was declared. So, like, we literally had scouted for 3 days, and we're on our last production meeting. We're going to shoot that Monday, and they were like, cut the cord. So we don't have anything shot, but everything is prepped.
That's how I am. That's how my show was. I was 2 weeks away from shooting.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, what are you on now?
Starting up American Crime Story, Bill Clinton impeachment. It's White House, so I thought, yeah, I can do that.
I am actually really excited about that because
it's good.
Monica Lewinsky is like involved, right?
Yes, she's like producing it and gave us like pictures of her, like her apartment and everything, and like little things that were on her desk, and like she's super sweet as far as I know. So yeah,
I like her. I like her whole persona, her public persona now. She's like a very capable, smart lady.
She tweets a lot. And she's snarky. She's snarky about like there's always some sort of like comment like been there, or like when somebody's got a bad day and she's like, oh yeah, tell me about it. Like it's constantly, it's sort of like, hey girl, you might want to like just not say it every day.
It's a lot of energy to carry, but I guess it's like someone is going to say some shit to her every day, right?
But
so
going back and doing all this research, as I'm sure, with Drunk History, I'm sure you're doing tons of research on these historical events.
Oh my God,
but going back and doing this research, it's like, she was like 21, she was 22, 24, like, yeah, Pablo the president, like, yeah, and how she was so scrutinized, and it's so bad. It's so bad. It's so
She was
sad.
such a scapegoat.
Yeah.
Such a scapegoat from the beginning.
Yeah.
And the only thing that's like relatable and tough to relate to, because it didn't happen to us, obviously, or it didn't happen to me, is like her desire for this old man. You know, like,
I know.
Was he really that foxy? Like, just because he's president? Like, I don't know if power means that much to me.
I don't know. I think there's such a romanticized atmosphere, especially when you're working in the White House, and I don't know. I could see it. I could see how it could happen, and I don't know. I mean, no, I wouldn't. Like, if I saw Bill Clinton on the street, I'd be like, no.
No. But I do like rock stars, so I guess I get it, you know? Like, when I was that age, there was definitely, like, some musician I would, like, just die for, but... I mean, whatever, she was young and dumb. I mean, that's, like, almost dismissive, but it's a good reason as to why it happened.
Your 20s. That's what your 20s are for, is to, like, make the mistakes, learn from them, and then, like, get past it and grow. Like, that's it. That's what your 20s are for. She just made a really big boo-boo.
She was really doing high-stakes gambling there.
One of the things I can't figure out from watching Drunk History is the process. Like, I don't... Like, chicken before the egg type thing. And then where you get to design it. I guess I'm like, well, wait, do they have to wait till the drunk part is recorded?
Yes.
And then, so you do?
Yes. So it's a long spiel, just fair warning, but I'll get technical about it. When I can, they research a ton, like, and those are like writing producers, and then they book all of the narrations, and that's when they get wasted, and that's like... So
let's just say it. Let's go, but let's just take the Cleopatra one, the Cleopatra system.
Yeah.
So they research that out, and then they tell someone all of these facts, and then they get them drunk and make them repeat it.
Basically.
But do you have any control over that environment? Like, where...
No, that's all...
That's their place.
Yeah, there's a whole narration unit. And, like, usually we pick people and we can film in their house, you know, and they already kind of know something about that history. They just need, like, the specific pointers to make it really slick. So it's definitely still authentic in that way. It's definitely a friend who cares about history, and we're going to get wasted in their apartment. But it's definitely grown up. Like, now they're doing, like, really simple location work, you know? Like, this year, future season 7, we have a haunted house story, so they went to a location in LA that looked like a haunted house. But I wasn't there, you know, because they didn't need me. They needed, like, 2 chairs and the whiskey, you know?
Right,
and, like,
right.
And, like, a spooky living room. Well, one way to make it feel spooky is, like, there's nothing in there, so...
Right.
You don't really need us. So we come on, like, reenactments, we come on, like, maybe 3 to 6 months after narrations wrap. I can't remember how long.
Oh, wow.
It's probably 3 months. It's probably 3 months. But, you know, they space it out because it's a lot of drinking. So for Derek's health, they space out those shoot days. And by the time I get the scripts, that's when I get to design. And it's, like, such a straightforward designing because it's reenactment, you know?
Right.
I'm doing my job if it looks realistic. If it just sells at least the era or whatever intent we're trying to do. And then it started as a location show, so it's still, like, the bulk of it is locations, and it could be anything from, like, an empty stage at Riverfront to, like, for this episode for Typhoid Mary, we shot at Hotel Green in Pasadena.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So we, like, because I love the architecture there. It was really turn of the century. It's perfectly Edwardian. So we, like, let's just put in our furniture, you know, and, like, change the orientation, you know, like, change the flow of the room, blah, blah, blah. Sold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was great with all of those peaches and ice cream cans around.
Yeah. That turned out really good. I really love our graphic designer, Sarah Gonzalez, and she was a fan of the show when I interviewed her and got her on, and she gets it. There's, like, jokes in the old-timey graphics.
Yeah. Good
often,
fonts.
and so we have a lot of fun there. There's a lot of Easter eggs, like, naturally, because you know, it's like we're having fun. It's comedy. Yeah, Derek likes putting a lot of jokes in signage and stuff like that. So that's fun too.
Graphic arts is artists. I mean, it's such a huge job on a lot of shows.
Yeah, and there's one.
When you're on shows that graphic artists get to have some freedom, that's always, I think it's always a good thing. Because what else, I mean, they're sitting in that office all day. They don't really get to get out of the office. I mean, putting, like, side jokes in or, like, selecting that perfect font, it's a true artistic, like, gold mine, like, graphic artist. I value them so much.
I agree. It's probably my strongest skill too. I'm not as good as people who do it full time, but I know for me, it takes me all day, you know, just to make it look right. So to produce things at, like, such high volume, that's the talent.
Yeah.
You know, I guess, like, that's why art school is good, because that's, like, boot camp, and this is the war.
Yeah.
And they're ready for battle. They're ready to give me 20 ideas every single day. And, yeah, I feel like they're kind of undersung sometimes.
I do, too. Hey, we all are.
Yeah, I know. Like, when's the next time I'm going to get called a set designer? You know, it's just like, you're close, but you're not there.
Yeah. When you get the script till you shoot, because you've mentioned that you shoot in blocks, what is that timeline? Like, is it 3 episodes at a time, or is it? So
you're gonna be upset a little bit. Most of the stories we do, or a normal episode is 3 stories for the 30 minutes. So we shoot 1 story in a day. So it's a 10-page script a day, and that's usually 10 sets. Mm-hmm. And it's up and down the same day. The only semblance of prep we have is if we're at a location more than a day.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane. It's constantly fraught.
Wait a minute. You dress, shoot, and strike in the same day?
Yes. Yes. and my gold room is mobile. I know for this is like heavyweight decorating stuff. I think on par with like commercials, you know?
Yeah.
It's definitely that pace of commercial work where it's actually the entire world right now. And that's demanded on for everyone, you know, like if we have our shit together, we can rehearse some crucial things, you know, but most of the time our department's only like 1 or 2 sets ahead, obviously. And the best way to design it is to really decide with the guys, like, what's the main set? Because sometimes we can break down 10 sets, but it's only like one huge space. And it's like this corner looks like a bathroom, this corner looks like a living room, but it's not.
You
you
got like vignettes going on.
Yeah, it's all vignettes. And in the past, we've relied on like abstract black type of sketch, you know, black box theater aesthetic. And then it's really grown up into this like community theater painted backdrop
Because the Cleopatra one, you had a backdrop.
Yeah. I mean, I rent painted backdrops. I've had a few made, not painted, like maybe painted on a small scale and then we blow it up and get it printed. But it's really limited it's often like an old theater backdrop that I have that we just dress stuff in front of. You know, we dress the set in front of it and just roll with it. But the season I got to take over, we did a few builds. We did a few like true location builds, and like I was able to block off stories into like one location for like 5 to 8 days. So we had like real prep, at least, you know, like at least we're at Disney Ranch. Like we're on day one, and day one is running normal, like up and down the same day. But now I can prep for day 4 and day 2, and it's, you know, within that. So what are the parameters? So like it's usually 1 story a day, 10 pages, crazy long days. And we have to pick locations that we can be in for at least 2 days, because that's what's feasible for transpo, you know, like they can't be constantly moving base camp.
Yeah. Forget about us. It's all about transpo. Yeah.
It's really backwards, actually. Like,
by the way, I am observing drunk history. I have a glass of rosé.
Yeah. I need a rosé. Yeah. I should get a beer. I'm going to get a beer.
Yeah.
You'll get a mini tour of my house in the back.
I'm excited.
Like, you know, that's why we love big movie ranches. Like, we're at Disney Ranch lot. We're at Riverfront. We have to be at a location at least 2 days in a row. So I usually have to fit the 2 most related stories, either in era or look, into a place. And that's a lot of, like, creative puzzle.
Where did you do all the Cleopatra stuff you did up in that, like, Saudi Arabia village?
We did Blue Cloud.
Yeah.
And we did this cemetery in South Los Angeles because they had this tower that was perfect for this Ferris lighthouse. That was a big
wow.
film.
I thought that was like all digital. I don't know what that was. I was like, it was
a mix. And like we usually don't do digital, but Jeremy, the director of that one, he referenced Assassin's Creed, the video game.
Oh yeah.
Like it should be this epic, and I was like totally on board. And I was like, what do you think about like doing a digital matte painting? Because I have a really good artist who's like an epic painter type. Like he always draws these. He's a world builder in his art.
Oh wow!
And he's also like a union painter. So he's done like some of our hand painted signs, and he just happened to do like this like epic piece for us. Like, can you draw, you know, Alexandria in 51 BC? And he's like, totally. So we got to collaborate on like what kind of view we wanted and how to make it look like that sweet video game. And I think it turned out really well.
It did. I thought it was one of the show's like bigger sets or bigger done little segments. I was like, oh, they really stepped it up for this one.
We did multiple. I think Egypt was actually 3 days, and that was a big deal. It was a big deal for us to like break our one story a day format, but there was no way to tell the story in 10 pages. It definitely had to be like 20, you know.
Sorry, my fan. I too was like, oh, I worked with Aubrey Plaza. Oh, and I worked with David Wayne. I'm like, oh, this is like degrees of separation between me and Monica. Look at this, like.
Yes. It's really rad that we've worked in comedy because, like, I feel like it's such a small world, but it's a fun one, and like, it's so cool that so many comedians are friends and just like cross-pollinate.
And we'll do shit for each other. Don't you think, like, they've got a good little thing going on? I feel like, hey man, can you just be in this?
Yeah.
Like, for scale, and they'll do it. Like, I feel there is, like, a certain group of people who, like, go out of their way just to be like, yeah, I'll be in it, whatever. I'm not like that. I don't.
I am terrified of networking, yet I'm somehow kind of good at it, so I tip my hat off to all these, like, actor friends. And, like, Derek and Jeremy are definitely that. They feel like the popular boys. You know, it's kind of like a rite of passage to come through Drunk History, because I feel like a lot of people did the show before they really blew up.
Yeah, that first season.
Or it's like a awesome comeback for someone you haven't seen in a while. Like, the first one I ever saw, and it was a season I didn't work on. It was Lisa Bonet. And I was just excited because it's like, it's Lisa Bonet. Like, when's the last time you seen her?
Yeah.
And she's like in a beautiful, now she was in a beautiful mansion in Malibu that they put all this like Louis XIV shit inside. I don't know. It was like a crazy beautiful set. And I was like, how did they do this? How did they get her and this location and all this shit done? And now I know it's like, oh, because the commitment is really brief, you know?
Right.
Like,
that's probably the allure of it, too, for getting them. Cheers.
Cheers. So nice to see you. Thank you for having me on this. It's awesome.
Yeah. As soon as the nominations come out, I'm like, I have to email Monica. That
means so much to me because, I mean, just to say it on your podcast, like, we met when I was a coordinator and I had just dreams of art directing. And I feel like I was a moody, cranky art department coordinator because I wanted more, you know, and I was a little shit about it, but
I was the worst art department coordinator. I mean, I only did it like twice, and the one pilot got like shut down. The one pilot, I was like, clearance. Ugh. Where's my PA? Where's my PA? I don't do clearances. I don't know how to do that. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
So yeah, art department coordinator is hard. There's so much shit to do, and it's like
so hard.
You got to be there early and be there all day.
Honestly, I think the morale. I think I would have stuck with it longer if it was a better paid position. But it's
such a bummer.
I know, it's so beholden to PA rates for some shitty reason.
But you did a lot. I mean, you art department coordinated Rizzoli
for a
and
while.
Rizzoli and Alice. So do you know Adam Rao well?
No. I was at Rizzoli when Lauren Kraskow and Gina Cranham were there. And they were awesome. It was really awesome to have lady bosses. Nice. You know, on a cable show, on a cop show, which is also about lady bosses, honestly. But, like, it was good energy, and I learned a lot there, too. But I think I was still cranky. I was still, like...
So let's go through. When did you not be cranky? Wait,
I think I just got fucking. I think I literally just got happy, like, sometime.
Well, it seems like you did... Well, because then you started to move up. Like, then you started to, like, assist an art direct. So then, of course, you were, like... And then the one I did want to ask you, I mean, I want to ask you about everything, but I should start with, you went to USC Film School, correct?
I did.
You did. That cult. You know, my husband's a Trojan. Fight on.
Fight on.
Fight on. So I'm married into the cult.
Welcome.
They are super pissed that football is not happening, and I feel really bad too, but,
Sure, yeah.
I feel like USC as a school is really good. Like, it's really good. So so when did you feel like when you graduated you could network as a USC student?
Yeah, that did open automatic doors. Like,
Great.
Literally, I got one of my first internships I got just because I went to film school. Like, he didn't even really meet me. It was just like, it was for something I ended up not doing later on, but it was for development. I was just reading scripts for this person. But just because of the recommendation and having that little expensive, USC film school thing on my resume opened my first door, if not many after that. And I loved going there. When I was growing up, I wanted to be an animator or a cinematographer. And then in high school, I was so serious about this.
You were serious about being a cinematographer?
Yeah, I thought I wanted to be camera. But once I was in film school, I was like, wait, I like drawing, like I love like the art of it. I changed my mind in film school. I was like, what's art department? Oh, that's decorating? Oh, sick. You mean I can draw and be on a film? Awesome. So I got the bug pretty early on in college.
Does USC have classes for production design?
Yes, actually.
Great.
And one of the teachers I had was Victoria Paul, who's a production designer.
Who, yeah. I mean, I don't know her, but that is a name that when I first started out, I was like a one away from her at all times. Like, I feel like she was always on a show that was going on that I wanted to be on.
Yeah, she was on for a while she was joking that she only got like the first 2 seasons of anything because then they would get canned. Like, I remember she was on a show called E-Ring, which was actually really good, but got canceled because it was like before the 2008 era. I feel like a lot of shows just like disappeared all the time. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Even if they had fans, like, it's gone.
Yeah.
And I ended up actually working for her when I moved back to LA later on, which is awesome of her. She took a chance on me, as a former student. But I think even back when I met her at USC, she could tell that I was like the real deal. That at least I was super obsessed with getting a job in art department one day. And when she saw that I was starting to work as a coordinator, she hired me. So, do you want me to tell you my whole little history?
Yeah, I mean, because it is important that people or anyone listening to this is like, it's relatable. Like, we all went through it, but it is I always find it's fascinating of like, this led to this, and I thought it was going to take forever, but then this led to this. Like, it's like you're saying, like, it's all puzzles. Like, it's crazy. Puzzle pieces.
Yeah, I will rewind a little bit, I guess. In film school, one of the best things USC has is that it's here in LA, mm-hmm. and the network, like the alumni, is so astronomically famous or well off. Like most people who ended up in film school end up sticking with it, and they're pretty well. They succeeded in some way. Anyway, I took a class there that was actually taught by talent agents, and I had a class once a week at the CAA meeting rooms, like the one in Beverly Hills, the Mike Ovitz building. So this is like vintage LA by now, but talent representation was interesting. So after I graduated, I actually worked at an agency as an agent assistant, but I still was like really into the idea of being in production, because that's what I did in college. Like, I made short films and all that stuff as a production designer, and I missed that. So I started like focusing on agents who represent designers, cinematographers, and editors. And I ended up working for a gentleman named Jay Gilbert, and one of his mm-hmm. clients is Nelson Coates.
Oh yeah.
And Nelson and I ended up bonding because, I'm such a fan of art department, especially his own work at the time. I was like, oh my God, I've seen so much of your work. And he loved hearing that, of course. And we sort of collaborated on decorating my boss's office. Like Nelson was repainting it and putting in like new everything, like new wall treatments, new furniture. And I ended up being like kind of the coordinator for that. So unbeknownst to me, it was it ended up being an audition to actually coordinate for Nelson, because like eventually I had my agent boss's favor and he was like ready to help me move on to the next thing. And I told him like, I would love to work for one of your clients, even if it's like not a paid position right away. You know, I just want to make the transition. But
let me ask you this. Do you think if you had never spoken up that they would have assumed that you wanted to do that? Or is it... Because I'm a big thing of, like, squeaky wheel gets the oil, and I feel like that's an opportunity
100%,
where you
100%,
you let them know, like, no, hey, I'm here, and I'm ready to go.
All the time. Like, you have to bring it up.
Yeah.
I was honest about it, and it wasn't a surprise that I wanted to go back to production, you know. I was talking about how much I missed it and how much, like, I had reverence for department heads, which I still do, you know.
Yeah.
Like, people who run this stuff, they're still my heroes, and that means everybody we work with, to be romantic about it. But I mean, at one point I was like telling my friends, like, I'm there to meet designer clients and see if I can just, you know, get ahead quicker, because I couldn't really afford years of PAing, which is a legit way to go, but it's like really, it does not pay very well to go that way.
Well, it pays better than a coordinator, really, because if you do overtime and you get the mileage, it actually is better than a coordinator.
Well, shoot.
I'm going to stick up for PAs right there, because I used to make a ton of money when I was a PA.
I'm not negging the art PA job because it's, like, super legit. But at the time, I don't think I was snotty about it. I was just definitely impatient, you know? I was like, if I'm going to be an assistant, I want to be an assistant to the art department, which is what I think a coordinator is. Nelson took a chance on me, and he hired me for a movie out in Chicago. And Seth Reed was the art director. Denise Pizzini was the decorator. You know, and these are like people who are all important to me now.
So what was that woman's murder?
They taught me, it was like trial by fire. And I picked up what I picked up, and all of them are still really nice to me. And I was like, God, you really do me when I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. Excuse my language.
Is that Women's Murder Club?
No, it was The Express.
The Express. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a movie.
Yeah. It was a historic football movie, so a lot of history. And we filmed in some really beautiful places in the Chicago area, which was like such a great experience that I've never replicated.
God,
I've never
awesome
been on location that long.
Like 3 positions into it, you were like gone on location.
Yeah. I went from being at a desk in Beverly Hills, literally in 1 week, I moved to Chicago.
I say this too, like, we're such a vagabond sort of like, oh, Chicago? Yep, I can be there tomorrow. Shreveport? It's gonna shoot. Yeah, sure. I'll move my whole life. Cool. Oh, Atlanta? Yeah, I'll just get some deodorant and I'll be down there. Like, yeah, I'll just go and move there for 5-6 months. Like, cool.
Oh my God. Yeah.
It's kind of great that they got to bring a coordinator with them, because that's not like usual.
I was hired as a local, which is probably the shady part, which I didn't really know at the time. But
what you don't know won't hurt you.
Yeah, they wouldn't fly anyone out. The people that Seth and Nelson liked, they were not available because it was like a really busy time, and nobody in Chicago was working out. So they were like, fuck it. let's try a new person. And I was that new person.
Nice.
And when I moved back to LA, Victoria gave me my first job. So that's still like USC being super sweet to me, you know? Like,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So you stayed with the coordinator position for a little bit. And but then you mixed in some assistant art director. So how did you get days for art director?
So whenever I had the energy and the friends to do it with, I would production design shorts, you know, and at least be there for the prep if we never got to shoot, at least like kind of still doing the job on this like non-union indie level. And eventually some of those projects ended up being like legit, or I would just ask for a bump up, you know, like those first assistant art director jobs, they were like really understaffed. So even if like I interviewed for the coordinator position, eventually it'd be like, actually you're doing a lot of stuff. Like you're supervising the build and picking the samples and, you know, and like doing the mood boards for the decorator, blah, blah, blah. And I would just ask, like, if you can't pay me more, then I want a title bump, you know?
Yeah. That code bump is, like, huge.
Yeah, and that's what happened to me. Like, I was on something for Teen Wolf. It was, like, the web series, promo for it. It was the first season, and I wasn't on the main show. But out here in LA, they wanted to do all these, like, promo spots, basically. And initially it was non-union, and it flipped, you know, and like it just happened to be that I was there with a union designer who was just kind of doing the job, I think as a favor. She like just knew everybody on this, and she also just took a chance on me, and it ended up flipping, and I got my days that
awesome.
way. But I also had like a few years of like, you know, short film experience doing art department, so I wasn't totally unqualified. I had been doing it, but it was definitely a different way of getting union.
I think the key here is that you asked for it.
Yes, I always ask for the title bump. You have to. And I think that's something I learned from my agency days. I saw people negotiate.
Right.
I saw contracts. I knew what I mean,
that's invaluable. Paid. That negotiating skill is invaluable. I just watched that. I mean, I watched that masterclass with that negotiator. I didn't get shit out of it. Like, I don't think I could talk. I mean, I guess I could talk someone down on a ledge, but I still can't get like a higher decorator rate or something. Like,
yeah,
I was like, that's invaluable. Negotiation skills are key in this business.
And, you know, like, I still did stuff underpaid or working way too long and making that good rate not good anymore. But because...
Yeah, but that's the passion of it. That's what we all do.
Yeah, because, like, you have to pretend it's the biggest budget thing you're ever doing. Because, I mean, like, you have to. Because what if you actually get that big job? You don't suddenly know what to do. You learn by, like, going hard every single time.
Act as if. I just act as if. That's my whole life. I just act as if I know what I'm doing, and then I turn around and I look it up on my phone. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, there's always, like, a way to learn it, and people aren't such dicks. You know, like, they're surprisingly quite nice if you know how to ask nicely. Like, I feel like I've learned a ton from, like, prop shops and set building companies, you know, a lot of those being non-union set building companies. Like, we just learn it on the fly.
And I think we're also in an industry where people genuinely will pass information on that is going to be valuable in your career. Like, I've learned things from set designers. I've learned things from graphic designers, like, who have, you know, are, I don't want to say older, but have a longer career than I have. And I think that that's something that you have to keep in mind. Like, you got to just keep passing it on. You got to just keep helping people either get in or show them this or this resource, like sharing resources and things like that. Like, I think that's the only way how this industry in our little world keeps going, and we value it so much because there's so much talent. But if you don't know what you're doing, like, you don't know what scenic route or, like, you know, like you were saying, prop making and stuff like that, like, someone told you that's invaluable.
Yeah. Yeah, and, like, we all have, like, differing backgrounds. Like, I came from camera and producing, basically. Like, talent representation is a form of producing in my mind, in a way. Mm-hmm. But those are nice things to consider when you're playing, like, political games that naturally come up, you know?
I read the 48 Laws of Power. I'm all in.
Yeah.
I reference that all the time. Like, that's my go-to.
I just, like, genuinely believe that the person working for you could be your boss one day? Because, like, I'm exactly an example of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Monica.
Like, I got pretty high up pretty fast, and, like, I don't have any illusions about that, and I still feel like I have a ton to learn, and I want to learn.
I don't think so. I mean, Monica, it's actually, it's not that fast. Monica, it's like people. It's like almost 15 years. I mean, it's not that fast. It's fast when I think about, oh my God, I knew you when, but it wasn't fast. Like you worked your way up. It's not fast. You took this, look at your resume. You've had like tens of jobs of like at different positions. Like,
yeah, I did learn. I went to school, like, another thing to ask for, like, I am always insecure about, like, not having an architectural background since drafting is such a big deal. But I learned how to. Like, I took architecture classes while I was working at Bones. And, like, that only happened because Michael and Greg understood. They're like, yeah, okay, you can leave a couple hours early, like, twice a week to learn how to draft because you're serious about this. And I think, like, they definitely used me more than a coordinator. I was, like, not at my desk a lot. Because I remember I was on scouts all the time, which is really weird.
It is, well, it was weird, but it was valuable to you. And that's like I'm saying, like, they saw that, oh, this is the next generation, they should see how this runs. And I think that that's super important.
Yeah, that was so awesome of them. But, the show also got an assistant art director for the price of a coordinator. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like...
But, and well, look, I've been there too. The same thing was on Wheel of Fortune. I did all the drafting, not all of it, but I did a lot of drafting and everything, but I was the PA. I mean, but that experience led me to my next job, and I can't back away from, like, okay, well, I got screwed there, but I learned from it and I moved on.
Yeah, and at the same time, it's like, I joke about that stuff, but, like, they weren't really screwing me over because I was definitely learning, It's not like I replaced a seasoned assistant art director. I was definitely just,
Steve
like,
Beers
a pretender,
hear this
I was, like, just
and know
learning.
that you left early because he might dock you some pay somewhere along the way.
Oh, no! Oh my God, I made up those hours, I promise.
Yeah. I just want to side note that I loved that show, Men of a Certain Age. I loved that show.
Oh my God, right?
How did that not keep going on? Ray Romano, and I don't even like Scott Bakula. They were so good. It was such a good show. I don't know. I was so bummed. I love that show. I love that you did It's Always Sunny.
Yeah.
Always Sunny is like I can't believe it's still going on.
I know, right? It's like, that's another rite of passage, I think, in this business now.
A lot of people have worked on Sunny, and I think that's another show you could put on for an episode and just laugh and, like, cool, put that on.
Oh my God. Yeah. That was the coolest job I had gotten. And I still think it's probably one of the coolest jobs because it's such a cult favorite.
Yeah.
And
that's a good show to have on the resume there because it's like you're saying, like, I think a lot of people pass through there because it's a lot of, it's not a high budget show, but they do a lot.
They do a lot.
Yeah.
And they have great perms and they have great location work and they can do really gross stuff.
Who was the
always,
decorator
like,
when
fresh.
you were there?
It's always different. And it's also nice to be part of something that isn't afraid of, like, dressing down. Like...
Who was the decorator when you were there?
It was Jerry Kelter.
Jerry, yeah. Jerry is... I'm going to do this podcast. I am on her ass. She's going to do it. So she will be honest at some point.
So much from her.
She's the best.
Yeah.
Oh. And she's
she
so
had
honest.
She had a lead man who was also named Patrick in British.
Oh,
but
funny.
Not your Patrick.
Well, no. I don't lend Patrick out for... I mean, no.
No. I feel like I've seen you and Patrick together since I met you in 2009.
Well, I think we actually, like, we worked together on Bones, but then he led for me on Parks. But yeah, since Parks, since like 2011. So yeah, but I knew him before that. And then you're coordinating, you're art directing. Talk a little bit about Chappaquiddick, because I liked that movie.
Oh, thank you.
I really, but I'm like a Kennedy, like, obsessed person.
Yeah.
So,
legit.
But I liked it.
It was great. We were on location in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
It had a really rough prep, so I came in like midway through prep because they were really behind. They just needed more art directors. It happens. You just have to shore up on labor. So I was there like maybe 6 weeks, maybe less. But what was cool was, yes, getting it really immersed into the Massachusetts Kennedy history. And it was interesting. I heard that, like, the townspeople in the North Shore, they were not happy that we were there because, like, they're very protective of Ted Kennedy, and it's, not a great story about him.
They're protective of, like, what they're famous for. We would never know of the town Chappaquiddick unless he drove that car off the bridge. I mean, are you kidding?
Correct. Yeah. And oh my God. It was a sore subject, but also like, oh, of course, like that needs to be told. And they got to go to Cape Cod. It was just like all over Boston. And we had some stages in the North Shore. So the North Shore was, like, for me personally, so fun as a goth kid because that's where Salem is. So we lived, like, in Danvers where that psychiatric hospital used to be that horror movie's based on. So, like, that's spooky that we were in Danvers. And then on the weekends, like, we could go to Salem and just, like, be tourists. And that was really fascinating, just to see the culture there. I ended up really loving Boston. And working on a film after doing a lot of TV was, like, a really nice change of pace because, I mean, talk about research. Like, really, some days felt like I just was in the library or online libraries all day.
Well, that's what I feel like. That would be such a great project.
Yes.
For my own personal, like, interest. But, like, it's just fascinating. I just think the whole Kennedy, like, dynasty, like, I don't know. I just think it's fascinating, all of it.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool. I learned something I didn't really know a lot about, All
I know is
it was great.
My grandmother, my grandmother hated Teddy Kennedy, and she was always like, he killed that girl up in Chappaquiddick. You know that, right? like she would like that wasn't even like her accent. That was really bad, but she had a Philly accent. But like, he killed that girl up in Chappaquiddick. Like she was, and I think I was like 6 when she's telling me this. Like, I like she loved John and Robert, but like that Teddy, was like she hated Marilyn Monroe. She hated Kelly Ripa. It was the whole thing. But so I feel, and oddly, sidebar, we had one of my grandmother's best friends' last name was Kennedy. So growing up, I kind of felt like we were related to the Kennedys. Like I didn't get it that other people had that name. So I don't know. I thought it was acted really well. I like that guy. And I don't think I actually knew that story besides my grandmother telling me he killed a girl. I don't know. I just really like that movie. I don't know. Anyone who hasn't seen it, I think it's very well done and very well acted. And I'm glad to know that you shot it where it happened.
Yeah, it just was right. All the roads are creaky. I don't know. There's like an oldness to Boston that cannot be replicated, and that somehow adds a flavor to the whole look of that movie, Like, you can't really fake Cape Cod. I mean, you can fake anything, but it just really helped all of us get there mentally. Like, okay, this is where it went down. This is Kennedy country, have some respect.
Right.
But also, like, that respect is the pressure that Ted Kennedy crumbled under,
Right.
And he became, like, a temporary sociopath, I guess. because he picked his family pressure over the life of someone else, which is crazy. But
and,
I don't know.
Funny enough, I'm sort of obsessed with John Goldsmith at the moment because I just finished Perry Mason, and I was a huge fan of the OA. But just nice to work with. Like, was it like?
Yes, he is such a gentleman.
I've heard he's super nice.
So nice.
Yeah.
Like, so nice. We worked together pretty well, I think. We met because of Chloe Arbiter. She was the supervising art director, and she called in her people, and I was one of the people, and he really enjoyed working with us. And I think we helped the show get back on track. It was just like they were really behind because it happens, like it happens.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's just all of a sudden you're shooting in 2 weeks. Like, well, okay.
Yeah. I mean, at least they called me when they were like 6 weeks out or something. So, but we just had I was there to really push through all of the newspaper research, layout, production, coordinating with props and all that. It was so detailed because, again, it's like a real historical piece. So you want to do it right. So they needed someone in charge of that stuff. And that was me.
And then you go into American Horror Story.
Yeah, that was so fun.
Was it? Because I'm scared to death, actually, to work for Ryan Murphy, so that's good to know.
It's fun. It's fun creatively, but the life is a little soul crushing. I'll be real.
So So this, I did not watch this season, but this is like the horror movie slasher girl, last girl standing type thing. Where did you shoot all that? Because I know it was like a lake and right. It was kind of like Friday the 13th ish.
We made Franklin Canyon.
Oh.
The camp. Yeah. So there's a lake there, and there were just literally flat picnic areas that we put cabins on, like pretty sturdy, crazy cabins. It was really hard. It was really hard because we had to schlep all that stuff up to, a public park that was still open when we were shooting also. So, oh my God, talk about logistics. I think that, and also the persistent night shoots because it's a horror movie, all horror movies are at night.
Ugh.
That it was just physically
I'm out.
taxing for everyone. And it was this art department's first time on the brand, on the series. So we had a lot to learn. But now they're back, and I don't know, it sounds like they're doing really well. I ended up splitting off because Drug History was happening at the same time, and I wanted to pick that because I get to design that one. But then coronavirus happened, so we're all kind of just stuck right now.
Oh, you mean the next season? The next season,
yeah. Sorry, season 10.
They were, because I know the decorator Brandy Kalish. They were in the building across from us on Fox, and they shut down the week we did, and I think we were a week or two ahead of them in prep and shooting, but I guess they're starting up. I don't know if they're starting up right now. I actually haven't talked to her, but I don't know if they're starting up. It
doesn't sound like it. I'm just thinking about the little bit of work I need to do, and I've been here, the people that I know on it are available for now, but I bet they're coming back, and
I'm sure it's going to come back. Yeah. I don't know if it's the first rollout for Fox/Disney. I don't know. I think they're going to be a couple of weeks behind.
Yeah, it's just tough right now.
Probably September or something.
I hear such conflicting things. Some people are shooting and it's all good, no problem. And then some shows feel like they're not really shootable with all the safety precautions you need to take for COVID, because those shows are used to running at a really aggressive pace. And I would say everything I've worked on is such an aggressive pace, and we're all on top of each other. you know?
Yeah, like I don't know if they could have done Veep.
I don't know how to do this job that safe.
I know.
I literally just told you earlier that we prep one set and we take it down, you know, like, or for Drunk History.
Yeah, you be on top of each other, and now there's like zones, like people can't, only so many people can be in the zone at the time or something like that. But I think that the reality is shows have to settle down.
Yeah.
For this season. And I don't know. I mean, I think it works out a little bit better for the art department because now I might actually get a minute to dress.
Definitely.
So I hope that it's like that. I'm sure it won't be. But I'm sure it'll be like, oh, well, lighting's got to get in tomorrow, so you really only have one day. But I think too, especially with my show, if the show can, you're going to build everything and then shoot it out. I don't know, like Drunk History, I don't know if you have that option. But like with... We do with a few stories, and like we had so many build plans this year. I feel like I'm talking about season 7 way too much, but no, I mean not. I don't think you've given anything away.
We had so many great plans to make it less on the run, you know, because it's such a band on the run type of life, and we were going to settle down a little bit, like, okay, we'll be at this location for 10 business days or something, and that's like much more relaxed for us. But I think again, it's all up to Viacom, you know.
Yeah, and I think with us, it's like they're gonna build and pack the stages with whatever we can build and shoot out the stages as much as they can, and then I don't know, pray for a vaccine in January or something, and then we start doing location work, or then things get a little bit more lax and we figure it out and we do location work. But our schedule that should have shot in March, basically the first 2 weeks was shooting out an actress and didn't have any stage work, and it was 3 to 4 locations a day, every day. So that's not going to happen now. I don't think we can do that right now or in the next couple months. So I think they're playing it smart in a sense of like, all right, we'll contain ourselves, we'll be on stage. And I think any shows that can do that, especially like sitcoms and things like that, I mean, you're not bringing in an audience, but, you know, half-hour comedies that are, you know, single camera and stuff, when you try to just make bottle episodes, I think that they're fine.
Yeah,
they're gonna be all right for a couple episodes. I think the writers and the producers just have to give in to these circumstances.
Yeah, I think they're willing to play ball, you know, and still not every type of media or type of story fits in these parameters, and that's just like a reality. So I feel like there's just like reduced work for now. I hate to be like such a rain cloud about it, but it's just like it doesn't look good. Doesn't look good.
Well, it doesn't look good I'm an avid viewer. I'm like, whoa, like, when is Succession coming back? Like, wait a minute. Like, what's delayed now that I gotta wait basically a year to watch?
I'm waiting on Atlanta. I'm waiting on Succession. Yeah. I'm always waiting on Rick and Morty for the animation side. But and I'm waiting on my own show. Like, damn it.
Yeah. I can't wait to watch. But I used to say with Veep, like, oh, I can't wait to watch this episode. I don't want to do it. This is really hard. I don't really want to do it, but I can't wait to watch this episode. It's going to be great. Like,
Oh my God. I had so many. Anyway, I just went there in reverie, but just the feeling I had, like the dread I had for such big days on set, designing season 6. I'm like, I can't wait for this to be awesome. But I don't want to do it. I want to run away. Like, the anxiety is making me crazy. Like, I just want to barf or something.
Yeah. But I'm actually shocked. I really thought you had, dressing, shooting, and striking in one day is like...
Yeah. It's like a live show. So, you know, it's like theater. And we lead into that a lot, and like the design can kind of go down for the sake of schedule, you know, and we try to make a few of the sets just fucking awesome, and then the rest have to be a little bit sacrificed. Like you kind of,
we all sacrifice. We all have to do that for time and money, and I mean, we all have to do that. I just didn't think it was that close.
It's so close. I feel like I designed it as if I had 10 million to spend on each story, when I really have 10,000 maybe, right. You know, and like only one day. It's like tracing great art with a crayon, you know, because like you know what you're trying to achieve underneath, but you're only given a crayon to do this. Like, but I mean, try to make it work with this, and we find a way, you know, like,
oh yeah, I mean, there's plenty of times that we do. I mean, I've done the same thing. You do it.
Yeah.
I just didn't realize you were doing every episode that way.
Yeah. And honestly, it could be so, and it can be so crushing on a personal or physical level, because it's such a commitment to get that kind of show on or going all the time. But we have such a culture on Drunk History that's like positive. You know, I was talking about like senior year, but it definitely is like that. Like we're all homies, because there's no way we could do this super hard show if anyone was a jerk.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And then that's, I mean, it's funny you say that, because Mike Schur, who did Parks and Rec and The Good Place, his like motto is, we don't hire jerks. We don't hire assholes. We don't want any of that. Like, it's only good people here. And
I'm so glad.
Yeah. And I feel like, because there's actually not a lot of, well, there's some, but there's not a lot of like assholes out there. Like, everybody just wants to get their job done and do it well. I feel there's a lot of pride in every position. I don't care if you're a grip, you know, loading cable, like, or an electric guy doing cable. Like, I feel like if you're in this business, you have some sort of pride, because we all go, you know why? Because we all go to the rap party, and we all want to see, like, we all want to see it do well once you put in all this time and effort. That's what I really believe of our little world.
I totally agree with you. It's really nice to just work with people who want to do their best every day, you know?
Yeah.
Because, like, even when you see people who care a lot, quote unquote, phone it in, you realize, like, they're still kicking ass. Yeah. You know, you can't turn off. Like, I mean, once you get that really, like, sharp skill, whatever that is, like, you have it for life. Like,
but
that's
there's definitely people who are head down. Like, they're just, like, bodies there. There's definitely those people, and if you can weed that out and really get, like, a solid team, it just makes our world just easier.
Oh my God, right? Yes.
Yeah.
It sounds immature, but, like, really, hire your friends, you know?
Yeah. Well,
I bring up Chloe a lot because, like, I've worked a lot with her, and she actually got me on Drunk.
And Chloe's your decorator?
You know? Chloe Arbiter, who's the designer of American Horror Story now.
Oh, right.
But she's like, yeah, she's just like I think I introduced you guys.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
I actually feel like she looks like your kid sister, just because, like, you have similar hair colors. And, like, you both have that spirit of, like, you're a boss. You know what you're doing, you know? And
I'm pretending.
And you're both, like, fair people. Like, you're not too proud to admit, like, oh, I don't know what that is, but I can look it up.
I can figure it out.
Or, you know, I'll let somebody, like, teach me something, and then I'll apply that to the job that we have to do ahead. Like, it's, I don't know. Anyway, I'm just, like, singing your praise for both of you, because I love you both so much. But I bring her up because, like, it took a long time for me to find my quote-unquote art department family. And it can be tough as an art director. Like, it's not as, in my opinion, it's not as, like, friendly as being a set dresser, you know?
Right.
I don't know why, but...
Well, I'll tell you why. As a set decorator, I don't want to be told what to do by an art director. And I feel like a lot of art directors take that liberty. And I don't go for it. I don't I'm a department head. I have a job. I have 1,000,002 things I'm in charge of. You have 1,000,002 things you're in charge of, and one of them is not me.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. Like, and I just want the respect of, like, I'm not... If you have a message to convey from the designer, that's one thing. But don't act like it's your message.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really good perspective even for me. Because, like, I've been in a position to work with decorators, of course, as a designer and art director. And it's really hard to, like, find that balance of, like, they're in charge, but you have to be this conduit for someone else.
Yeah,
you know?
and that's fine. And I need that. I need that input. I need those details that you're about to tell me. But don't tell me don't tell me. Like, just be like when I see a graphic that needs attention, or if I see a doorknob out of place, hey man, you might want to check this doorknob. Hey, here's a heads up. They're going to look this way. You might want to change the window graphics on this. Like, I don't ever take it to, like, an official. I don't know how to.
You don't pull rank when you're. I
don't do that because I don't want it done to me.
That's really good.
But
that's really awesome.
But actually, as Adam Rao will tell you, the first day on Parks that he started, I went up to him and said, "You're the art director, and I'm the set decorator. And I'm a department head. Don't tell me what to do. Just stay the fuck out of my way, and this is going to go great."
Yeah.
And he's like, and I knew exactly where I stood with you. I knew you knew your shit, and I didn't get in your way. And we still have a great working relationship. We're friends at this point. Like, it was fine. And I think I, like, step around that with some art directors, but I think that that's a real thing between a lot of set decorators and art directors. And I could see it, especially if you're, like, an assistant art director. Where do you stand with a set decorator? Like, that relationship, it's a little awkward.
Yeah, it's definitely awkward, because, I mean, I just did it. I just did it on Horror Story, like, dealing with set deck a lot. Just being like a supervisor, or at least a representative from the designer, to make sure things stayed on the rails. And it was tricky. And the only thing that really kept me comfortable, I had to remember, like, I trust set deck. Of course I do. But I have to verify it. I have to verify that the work is correct, and that's usually easy. It sounds like so heavy, but it's like just snapping a picture and sending it to the designer. Like, hey, you're going to see it from Kim, but you're going to see it from me too. Like, this is what's on set.
But
is this cool?
Don't take a picture when I'm not done dressing. Because I've no, and I've like whipped people too of like, yo, you're not going to send that to the designer, right? Because this isn't dressed, so don't send that. No, I'm just sending them the graphic, and then like 10 minutes later I get like a note like, hey, we need another level of, dressing in there. Yeah, no shit, I'm not done yet. This guy sent you a picture, and now you're giving me notes that so I get that job, but give me that, like, I'm, don't send a picture of the set when it's not dressed and then throw me under the bus.
Yeah, exactly. I'm really glad we're having this conversation.
But it also is
so many gears are turning. I'm like, oh, that's just duh. Like, this is the way to talk about it.
But
there's really just some people who are bad at communicating about where they are.
That's what I was gonna say. That's the thing too. Is like, if we're not all on a friendship, I think, just because I'm like passive aggressive and kind of like take the funny attempt. If we're not on that level, I get really offended.
I know.
If we're not friends, I get really offended.
Wait, what was the last part?
If we're not friends, I get really offended.
Yeah. Right? Oh my God. I lay it on so heavy, especially when I'm in the boss. I'm like, hey, this is summer camp.
Yeah.
I love you. I'm basically like, okay, thank you. I love you. Because I really just want to be that positive. The job is so hard. Let's be friends. Like, you can be a real human being with me. You know, you could tell me if you're having the worst day or you're late. It's fine. At least I know where you are, you know. But you have to be a real friend. And at least with me, like, I promise I'm like, I'm not going to actually step over your boundaries. I'm not trying to, like, get you to work for me when you're not supposed to be working for me, or, like, you know, I'm not trying to force a friendship on you or anything. But when we're together, we have to almost feel like family, because like, we will be tested.
Oh, absolutely. You know? And we spend so much time together.
Yes. You have to like each other.
You have to like each other. Yeah. You gotta laugh. You gotta, like, be like, this is bonkers. What are we doing? Okay.
Yeah.
We're in it together. Hold my hand. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
We get it. My dad told me, and I always remember this, like, he's like, I don't know, when you were a little kid on the playground, you could walk up to any group and be like, hi, I'm Monica, I'll be your friend now. Oh. And even if I got turned away, I would be like, oh, that sucks, and then just, like, find another group to talk to.
That's so sweet.
Yeah, isn't that nice? But at the same time, like, internally, I'm like, I'm terrified of people. I feel like a dork all the time. I'm super sensitive. I remember like little slights and stuff like that. But I don't know. The truth is really in the middle. Like, I'm normal like everyone else, but definitely having this social ability of putting your best face forward, you know, and just recovering. Like, you will be socked in the stomach.
Yes. Yes.
Multiple times a day.
Yes.
It's all about how you get up and deal with the problem, you know. And it's okay to ask for help. That one is always a challenge. Because
it is.
Especially when I design and I start something, it's a panic. I'm panicked. You know, I have like 2 weeks of research for one story, but I only have like 4 hours to do the research, and I'm by myself, and I have to just trust the process. Like, soon my decorator will start and she will care. Soon my art director will start and she will care, and the coordinator and the PAs, and then suddenly you have like a whole team of people who really care, and they're gonna do the damn show with you. You know?
Yeah. It is a process of letting go of things and being able to divvy things out and let go. Like, all right, I'm gonna let you, all right, can you research Bill Clinton's desk? Like, I really wanted to do that, but I gotta do this other thing, and I gotta go to this meeting, and okay, cool. Can you do that? Like, it really is like letting go and trusting your team.
Yeah. Like, for Drunk, it's just, I have this like master online mood board. It's like it's basically a Google Slides, but
is it Pinterest?
No. It's I use like a Google Slides because I can switch between presenting a bunch of things back to back to actually editing the content. But like, I got to this point where every set had a historical photo matched to it, you know, and maybe like a little rendering, or even just like a napkin sketch for me of like, this is what I think it needs to look like. And I was really proud of that, especially because of like the aggressive schedule, you know, but I finally figured out like this way to communicate what I think I was looking for and what I could sell to the directors and the show creators. Like, this is a good idea.
Is it easier for you to design sets that don't have photo reference, or do?
I feel like I'm leaning towards when they do, you know, when there's like something iconic about this room where you can like dial in and be like, okay, I'm just going to build the whole look around this detail, you know?
Yeah.
But some are really fun to do to just wing it, because you need a break. It's all about the variety of, you know, creating something. Like, sometimes we have to play it really straight, and sometimes we can be really weird with it. And sometimes we can be lazy, or it's not really lazy, but we can do abstract black, you know, and we play with atmosphere and props.
It's such a great freedom that you have.
Than walls.
I mean, do the producers be like say like the Typhoon Mary, like, hey, we want a lot of ice cream. Like, is there is there those notes that you're getting?
Oh yeah. Yeah. And it's funny. It's like, well, how much is a lot? And then like Jeremy just like, held his hand up high, like he was like, it was like he was like describing the height of a young child. We're like, oh, okay, that's a lot of ice cream. And, me and Props had fun with it. She found these great, not so period, but it sells the ice cream look, tubs. And we had fun with the graphic and stuff like that.
Who was your props person?
Oh, Carolyn Stratton, or formerly Carolyn Tyler.
Nice.
Yeah. She did Better Things. I met her when we were doing non-union BuzzFeed shorts, so we're homies.
Nice.
Yeah, it's so nice to see everybody, like, rise up.
Oh, well, yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I'm super, like, happy for you, and I am of that little, like, oh, I knew you when.
I can't believe it. I can't believe it.
I'm so happy for you, and I'm really pulling for you, and especially after hearing, like, how the episodes are made and your prep time and everything. I do have to say, because I don't want to be an asshole, there was discussion when I was on the Emmy panel about, like, shows like A Drunk History or Portlandia of, like, is it scripted or not? And
I know. It's not. It's just not, though. Because,
well, that's what I was trying to get out of you before of, like, wait, is it scripted? But it doesn't, it seems like they're giving, like, some notes and then they just talk.
Yeah, it's like, okay, we like these comedians who are SAG.
Right.
And they all know Derek and Jeremy somehow. And I feel like they talk about the history on a personal level. Like, I don't know if that's true or not, but it definitely feels personal. And all of a sudden it's like, hey, we should research this story because so-and-so's, like, interested. Or, like, oh, so-and-so's such a baseball fan, like, and we just found out this interesting baseball history, like, we should get him back or her back, And then they just, they really get drunk and they really just give us the bullet points. Occasionally, like, I'll hear a producer, like, you forgot to say this part, like, usually it's the summary of
well, that's what I would think. If I was drunk, I don't know how many details I'd actually remember to, like, thread together a story.
It's definitely like a lot of coaching. And I haven't ever been to the shoot when anyone's drunk because they have a closed set, which is understandable, so that person feels comfortable. It's really just like camera, Derek the host, or the host and that person, like, actually having a nice time. And someone, like, watches the feed and they'll give notes like, oh, we need to have the narrator say this part because, it sounds nice, or, like, they forgot this key point. Yeah, and then it's a ton of transcription. It's a lot of producing. It's a lot of producing on the front end. And then editorial, like, Frankenstein's the whole thing together. They put together a comprehensive story in the narration. And so, like, the joke on Drunk History is, like, don't worry about it. We already shot it. Like, we'll always have the narration to go back to, and that's cool. That also makes me feel better when it feels like we're running behind on set. Like, oh my God, we're never going to make it.
Right.
You can, like, emotionally give yourself release. Like, well, they'll always have something to cut to, but of course we try to shoot the entire story, and there's so much that gets left out. We definitely shoot everything like it's long form, and, like, I don't know, like, I love the structure in a way, even though it's crazy. It's, like, my brand of crazy. But I would also like to see Drunk History get a little bit more breathing room schedule-wise and maybe money-wise, like, these are really deep stories that we're doing so fast. Like, we would do a great job telling it a little slower. That's my point.
If you had one story per half hour.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you said there was. Is there usually 3? I thought there was 2.
Yeah, this one is one of the first twofers. We call them twofers, 2 stories, because the stories themselves were so epic. It was like, well, each one is definitely more than a day. Like Egypt, we did over 3 or 4 days, maybe 3.5. And then Typhoid was, like, similar. It was 1.5 days. And then we just kind of matched stories that could fill in the time, or we would prep the next one. It was such a weird schedule, and also so strange to see one first team disappear and a second first team of actors to reappear because we're doing something else, like, and so like be so ready logistically with all our dressing just ready to go. And like that whole, oh my God, we figured out so much stuff in my time there at Drunk History. Like, I'm awesome. Not representing it in detail enough, but it was a mess. It's still a mess, but now it's an organized, orchestrated mess.
I don't know if any show isn't a mess. I mean, it's just, you work on different shows and you just think like, oh, I got veeped on that one. Or like, or we're in the bad place. We're in the bad place. Like, I think like every show that you work on, you have your own, like little inside joke about how bad it is.
I know, and like we take it because, I mean, what else are you gonna do? You know, like
you take it, swallow.
Yeah, like every job probably sucks in its own way. Like, there's not a lot of jobs that are perfect. So if it's gonna be disappointing, you might as well be, doing the kind of work you like doing most of the time. Like, it is a job. It will break your heart sometimes, but all in all, you love doing it and you're really good at it. So why not stay in the circus?
Yeah. Well, as long as I'm not a clown.
I heard the cutest thing. It was like, it's a story like I heard from someone else, but it's like a couple transpo guys and this like new guy PA, and this PA is just talking their ear off, like how he wants to get into business, like he just really wants to learn and move up the ranks. And they like, these two salty transpo guys are like, I mean, kid, it's hard getting in, but it's even harder getting out. Like, and it really is. It's really hard to leave.
It's such a bummer to do some of these interviews without seeing the person, because I would really love to just give her a hug and congratulate her. I'm glad that I was able to catch her and interview her about her nomination and everything. I'm really glad we had that conversation about the interaction between positions, because it's vital to have respect and communication with each other. And I think we all need to know where we're all coming from. And it's a quick hi, hello, now let's, basically spend 12 hours a day together. So it is vital that we all sort of figure out each other's personality quickly. I always say, because I was a casino dealer between summers when I went to college, and that job has always helped me quickly assess people's personalities, because I was standing at a table, with 5 people, whatever, and okay, this lady, she needs a little like help, or this guy doesn't want me to talk to him, or this guy, if I talk to him, he'll tip me. Like, you assess personalities really quickly in that job. So I always feel like that has helped me throughout my career. Anyway, good luck, Monica. Next week, I have production designer Matthew Flood Ferguson. He's also a set decorator. He is nominated for his work on the Netflix series Hollywood. So check that out next week. Congratulations to all the other nominees. I feel bad that it's not a regular award season, because the process of being nominated is pretty special. And like I've said, it's all great till you lose. So this process is like the fun time. So I feel bad that it's not normal for people who are nominated. But cherish it, and good luck to everyone. Hey, do you have like 5 seconds? Of course you do. Just scroll down and rate this podcast. Little 5 stars. Beep, 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 beep. And then maybe you've got 10 seconds. You do a quick review. Please and thank you. Summer is sizzling. Keep cool on your Stogie Floaty luxury pool float. Available now on Amazon, Etsy, and StogieFloaty.com.